Welcome to the RPG Podcast.
And we are live.
Oh, God, Patton!
Presented by Sheep. A Time Wheel production.
Welcome, everyone, to the Robert Patton Global Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. Really appreciate your following us. Please do tell your friends and leave us a 5-star review because we love those. I don't know if we have any of those, so check them out. I'll read it on air if I see one that I like. Today I'm here with a reoccurring guest, my brother and business partner, Matt Humble. What up?
What up?
Yeah, I like to do these, like the recurring ones. It's fun. And sometimes we have interesting stuff to talk about, and we say, well, hold on, let's just have a podcast and talk about it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
You got some kava right there?
I do have some kava. One of our sponsors, ohanakavabar.com. I'm going to do a little tincture here. And this is the way I was introduced to it, actually. And this is probably my preferred method of taking it because it's simple. But, you know, you can also buy the drink, and it's quite an experience. I like to say it's kind of, it's like a party. For people, especially for people that haven't ever tried it, I like to take them to the bar and give them a shot and see their reaction.
I haven't tried the tincture yet. I've only tried what is the cup called that has a certain name? Not Bula. That's what you say when you cheers.
Yeah. So we have the Kraken, and I don't know if you tried the Kraken.
I did. That was like the double.
Yeah. Yeah, those are crazy. That's for the experienced drinker. I'm experienced, but I'm more casual. I'm not trying to get like crunk on that shit, which you can get faded, I guess you might say, or they say rooted off of it. I just like a tiny little taste, it's not even a buzz really, just a little sense of well-being. Just a nice little microdose. Thank you. Yes, exactly. I like that.
Yeah. Microdosing is all the rage right now. I'm sure I've talked about it before, but for those that are new to it, the idea is a sub-perceptual dose of a psychedelic and or plant medicine. So that means it's not, like say it's LSD or psilocybin mushrooms. It's not any amount to feel.
Right.
So that you're like, whoa, I feel it. I feel trippy. I feel, like I'm in a, different headspace. It's not really meant to do that. It's mostly to act as a nootropic and to help different parts of your brain communicate with each other just a little better than they do in our normal waking state. And people are developing like life-changing, crazy, advanced technology by microdosing, apparently.
I wonder how many of Elon Musk's team are microdosing.
Probably all of them.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've talked about that before, but I do feel like Elon must be in touch with the psychedelic experience, and maybe he's just smart enough that it's kind of like he's able to perceive it with his normal brain. But at the same time, I feel like it's such common knowledge these days with all these documentaries on Netflix coming out, and even people like you wouldn't expect talking about them. And like, what was her name? She did. She had a new show on Netflix. And,
Gwyneth Paltrow.
That's her.
Yeah, she's awesome. I love her.
When she's talking about it, you know what I mean? I feel like the titans of the tech industry must know about it as well. So that's a funny thing for sure.
I mean, I'm into the nootropic aspect, but what I'm really into is the adrenochrome.
Oh,
and
okay.
I think it's Baby's blood. I'm just joking.
I know. Alex Jones went off about that.
I mean,
That's
I honestly
crazy.
don't know what it is, but it's supposed to be the fountain of youth in theory, and I don't know
Right.
what it takes to get it. But
Oh
give
my
me
God.
some.
I recall his story, which is quite insane, but it's
Please tell me, because I don't know.
the story was, all these rich billionaire people, like, top level Illuminati type people were using DMT to communicate with extra dimensional aliens and entities to like know what to do next, to like overtake the human race or something like that. And then eventually the DMT stopped working. So they had to switch to adrenochrome, which is harvested from little babies or something like that. So
Oh my God.
I don't know. Apparently, they shoot you up with it, and you feel amazing or something. But who knows if that shit's true? It's
Well,
definitely
so
interesting, though.
it's interesting, but so what I'm looking for is the actors or politicians that start reversing their age before your eyes. I'm gonna be like, they got,
Mm-hmm.
they have it. But when you still see the major, richest, most powerful people getting old and dying, it's like, oh, they don't have it just yet,
Right.
or it hasn't, reached them through these tech companies are the ones throwing all the money at it. I do want to say this though, because I was doing my Wim Hof as I usually do, and I read one of the comments below, and he mentioned that this message was sent to them through DMT or something, but this guy received a message from DMT in doing the Wim Hof method, and that is when you're on the exhale portion of the exercise and you're holding your breath, sometimes you want to exhale really quick. You're like, 15 seconds, 30 seconds in, you're like, okay, I've barely been inhaling. And he said to roll your eyes back as high as you can and like look up, and that will help you hold your breath longer for some reason. It like tricks the nervous system into thinking that just like it's not so bad, because we typically will try to take a breath way before we actually have to, and I think holding the breath longer increases the carbon dioxide levels in the blood, which dilate your veins, and it's really relaxing also. It can be so, but you ultimately have to breathe, and Wim Hof even says in the app, don't try to be a hero, don't, if your body's telling you to breathe, go ahead and breathe. But this is just a way to prolong that step a little bit longer. And I tried it and it worked. So it was
wow. I'll have to try it. I've noticed that, they call that I think they call it the dristi, which is your focal point during meditation. And they, in yoga, probably mostly Kundalini yoga, they tell you to do that, like look up with your eyes to more or less the point where your third eye would be, in your light body, which is in the middle of your forehead. And it does something. Absolutely. I mean, every little action you do does something. It's crazy. It's just about how well can you perceive the subtle energies. And we're not really in, the modern world very good at perceiving subtle energies, but it takes a lot of practice. But certainly in altered states, it's much more observable, so that's why they have like different mudras on your hands. You can put certain fingers together, and they say each finger placement does a different thing. And it's like, in sober waking reality, you're kind of like, what? Like, I don't feel anything when I do this. But in altered states of consciousness, if you switch from your thumb and your index finger touching to your thumb and your pinky finger touching, you can feel something different. You can feel, it's like a very subtle change, but it starts a different energetic flow through the battery that is our body and our nervous system.
Yeah, our energy system. And just to circle back slightly on the shifting your eyes towards your third eye, when I was doing my hypnotism lessons or whatever, when I was having problems sleeping way better, now people
Nice.
praise the Lord. And I don't know that it was from, the hypnotism, but it did get better when I was getting hypnotized, and then I stopped doing it because it's like $80 a session,
Mhm.
which I think I might go back actually, but maybe because now I'm sleeping better. But anyways, part of the pre-workout or when she's leading you through to get into this hypnotic state, the
Mhm.
first thing you do is she's like, look up, and your eyes start like twitching, you're like
Yes. Yeah,
looking
it's a
up.
weird feeling. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you don't really love the way it feels, but it does
No.
have effects.
Yeah, and then when you release it, there's like a relaxed state that occurs because you're kind of straining your eyes to look up, and then you release, and then it's easier then to slip into these deeper states, it would seem, based on my experience with my hypnotist. So
Yeah. Well, what is it like when you actually fall into the hypnosis? What is it?
it's the
What
most
changes?
you're just in the most relaxed, comfortable, safe state. You feel like, okay, I'm in the room with this person. I feel safe with her leading me. Nobody's going to come in here and start swinging a sledgehammer. And why would you ever think that? I don't know, but for whatever reason, sometimes it's hard to really let go.
Right.
You might hear a sound, whatever, if you're by yourself, but she's sitting there. It's really just like guided meditation.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's so relaxing. The most relaxing, deepest I've ever gotten into a meditation is through hypnotism, which
Mm.
again is just like the deepest form of meditation you can do. Having someone help you get there
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
beneficial.
It's two beings worth of intention. Like
Yeah.
one person's intention already is a ton. Like that's a ton of energy towards a dedicated goal. But when there's two people that are going to hold intention for you to go in,
Yeah.
it's that container is very powerful. That's why it's been known for thousands of years that like that's what healers are. It's funny because like I don't, you know, I know there's a ton of views on what goes on with healing and miracles and these types of things, but instead of like this guy healing you with some magical power coming through his hands or something, you hear about these people who have like these magic hands. If they touch you, you'll be healed. This type of thing. I think that what they do is they show up and allow your body to do what it can do on its own. But it takes belief for it to do that thing. And the belief in this other person's ability to heal you adds to your belief that you can be healed.
Yeah.
And then maybe you get healed, like maybe that's what the
Wow.
miracle is.
Yeah, the faith that this person has whatever they say they have, and I'm just going to go along with it. Like, I'm going to trust that, yeah, they do, what is that practice? Reiki. And okay, all right. But we've done it, and I did it. And when I was having that practiced upon me, I felt strings being like moved around as if I had like strings in my chest. And
Right.
I remember crying, which it's not that abnormal. I cry in almost every podcast, and sad commercials or touching things, but like touching commercials, but like it was an impact that I felt. And so when, is it real? Seemed real enough.
Well, those things, Reiki and being healed and these types of things are a participatory exercise. If you show up and don't participate, and you just like lay there like, oh, I hope they heal me. Like, I don't really think it's going to work. And you don't participate in the act of what the ritual / ceremony of what is intended to happen is, you're not going to receive the effect. But if you do participate and you do try to tune into your subtle energies as they do, again, those two beings worth of intention, you and then that person, activate things that the body knows how to do and has known how to do for thousands of years, which is heal itself. It's crazy because I've heard, and I can't attest because I haven't done this, but in a certain way you can heal any disease within 1 month. if you were to not get in the body's way of doing its healing. And that means more or less living like a monk for 30 days. But if you were to live like a monk for 30 days and not eat anything bad, no fast food, no all these high salts, high sugars, alcohol, all these things, like, and you go on this like diet to pretty much, and you don't put any toxins in your body, which is this is really tough to do, and you're probably not even ingesting outside media either. But in 1 month, you can probably get rid of a disease that plagues you. And I guess there's varying degrees to that. Some diseases might be trickier, maybe they take longer, but the typical kind of like depression, anxiety, mental diseases at least can really be treated in this way. And then some people even have like reduction of tumors and these types of things from what I've heard if they
Yeah,
just
and what
go
I
on a certain diet.
saw, like, what are those, like scans of a woman who had cancer, and this was on a movie called The Secret, but
Mhm.
she had cancer. She went home. But she was watching like a lot of funny shows, is what this show said, and just laughing a lot, so she wasn't watching the
Mhm.
news or anything that would be stressful. There was no
Right.
stress. She didn't, so the key here was just to laugh as much as possible, which laughter is medicine, and no stress, eat right, and then adding all those other things, the proper diet, maybe a little bit of exercise, maybe not too much, but something,
Mhm.
maybe throw some sauna in there. I've been
100%.
saunaing more since I
Mhm.
got back from Texas, just because
It's
I,
great.
I heard a podcast, something to do with it just improves your body's ability to function, and being
Mhm.
up at this high altitude, sometimes it's easier to get a shorter breath.
Yeah,
We go on hikes or whatever, and I found,
absolutely.
so since I've been doing it, which has only been like a week since I've been back, but it has some immediate effects. So I'm
Mhm.
just gonna keep, even just 20 minutes a day. I don't even have to get like absurdly sweaty, but I know you're supposed to sweat, but we have this infrared sauna, and
Mhm.
there's other benefits other than sweating.
It engages, yeah, like your body in its totality, which is something that we don't have done a lot in the modern working middle class America life. We
Yeah.
don't fully engage the entirety of our body in an exercise. That's why things like ice bath and sauna, which both do that, are so powerful for, activating dormant parts of you, even mentally, even just like your energy level goes up through the roof after these things because you probably get a flood of endorphins. And, I'm not super versed in what all those things would be, but I know how I feel after I do those things and I feel amazing. You feel
Yeah.
better than what even smoking a joint can offer. It's like a natural high that is tingling through your whole body. You know what I mean? So really recommend sauna and ice bath when you can. I actually recently got this inflatable ice bath, which is dope. It could fit 4 people in, but it has quite a setup time because you got to inflate it, you got to roll it out, and then when you're done, you got to deflate it, and it takes a while. So I want to use that one for kind of group events because it's really pro and nice. But I feel like I want to go get another 50-gallon from Lowe's that are only like $30 because that one is just you wheel it out, fill it up, drain it, put it back. It's really quick. And I think that will help me take more ice baths on a more regular basis again. Because definitely during the winter, I got away from the practice because it was already freezing out there.
Yep. Me too.
It makes it way easier in San Antonio when it's hot out and you want to get in the ice because it's
Yeah,
hot,
that's
and then when you
funny.
get out, you get dried a little quicker and this type of thing instead of just like, okay, I stepped out of freezing ice into the freezing wind and now it's like really hard, which I'm sure Wim Hof would say is better for you. But, as still a beginner to the practices, I think that summer, springtime is way better to start your ice baths if it's new to you. And kind of more advanced practitioners can go out in the cold and do it even in the cold. You know what I mean?
This podcast is brought to you in part by ohanakavabar.com. Now, Ohana means family, but what is kava? Kava is a root from the South Pacific. It makes you calm and happy. Just go to ohanakavabar.com. Choose your favorite brew. They have many to choose from with more on the way. And I personally like the tincture. It tastes good. It gets you quick and you're calm and relaxed in a moment. It cools and calms the nerves. Some call it an herbal Xanax. I think it's quite fine, and I think you'll like it. Let them know we sent you. Support this podcast by supporting our sponsors and support this company. It's run by a fine gentleman who worked in the nursing profession for 15 years before he finally was able to break away from the chains of the 9 to 5 and start his own company. He takes pride. He loves it. He drinks it every day. I love it. I use it all the time. And I think you will too. So go to ohanakavabar.com. Use promo code Sheath. You're going to love it. Doesn't taste that great, but chase it with a nice pineapple. You will not be disappointed. Trust me on that. ohanakavabar.com. Ohana's family. Use promo code Sheath. You're welcome. Our next ad is for another plant medicine, if you will. It's called Kratom, and you can get it at soapcorner.com. SOAP corner with a K.com. Go to soapcorner.com. Use promo code Sheath. And of course, last but not least, sheathunderwear.com, the greatest underwear on the planet, the underwear of legends, the underwear that keeps your balls from sticking to your legs. That's right. This is the best underwear because it keeps your boys cool. Check out sheathunderwear.com. Back to the show. Yeah, I watch people like in the snow getting into like a lake that has ice cut out so that they can get in for a minute. I'm like, you can take that.
That's crazy.
With you. And like you said, I took a break over the winter, but as of this week, I've done ice showers, like ice showers, cold showers.
I did do a cold shower yesterday.
Yeah.
But that was the first one in a while, and
Same.
probably some weeks for sure. It just felt like I needed that boost, but it does do it. It's crazy how it like sends your body into these funny motions, like 'cause when you first get under the cold and when my back touches, my back is the hardest part. For some people, their head is the hardest part. The head is easy for me.
Yeah, the head is easy for me too.
Yeah, just dunk it under and I'm good. But when it hits my back, I'm like, whoa, you know?
Yeah, it stimulates those nerve endings or something back there. Totally. And it wakes you up. It's definitely a stimulant. And dude, I watched this YouTube video last night. It was the biggest house in the urban world. It was 105,000 square feet house, which is like 30 times my house's size.
Wow.
And it's in LA, and it took like 2 half-hour episodes to walk through most of it, but they had a dunking one of the areas had like a sauna, a dry sauna, cold sauna, showers, and a pool and a whatever, but then they had a dunking pool. And I remember Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker.
Yep.
Every morning, according to him, he dunks in this cold plunge, and it's just ready. You just go and just like you jump in there and
love it.
I guess you stay in there for as long. When you're a millionaire, you can have that just set up. You don't have to wheel it out in the backyard and whatever.
Totally. Yeah, it makes me think when you get a house that big, you kind of need like a management team just for like general upkeep in your house, like maybe it could be a maid, but I almost feel like you need
staff.
3 people. Yeah.
Like there was a 9-room staff house and then a 4-room guest house and 7 pools, and it was absurd. It was so crazy.
Isn't it funny though? Like I feel it's weird. I don't quite understand the idea because a staff in your house.
Yeah.
Literally, you have to trust them with everything.
Yeah.
They're in your house, and I almost wonder what is it, what is that path like when you become the staff guy to like a millionaire? How did you get there? You know what I
Right.
mean?
And where are you in your path to your
Right.
future?
Right, because you just
Hopefully
show up to
a
this
step
guy's
in.
mansion every day. You go back to your probably kind of like smaller, normalish house, but you, every day, all day, you're like going to this mansion, standing around, like waiting to do a thing. Or I
Open the
saw a
door.
movie recently where they have like a guy that literally just washes the cars all day.
Oh my
He
God.
just shows up and he just washes the cars. There's 10 cars. He washes all of them and he probably starts over. It's like,
Yeah, that's absurd. That's what I have. Well, my Roomba is to clean the floor. I love that.
Mhm.
And we need more robots. But then what's that guy gonna do?
Mhm.
He's gonna have to get.
Robots are crazy. But you actually just brought up Tony Robbins. And on the way home recently, I was on a trip. I was doing certain research into a certain psychedelic medicine, and Tony Robbins came up in it, and he did it as well.
Oh.
He did the toad. He did
Okay.
5-MeO DMT. Tony Robbins, like the motivational speaker of our era, which is awesome.
What did he say about it? Or
He
do,
well, what's awesome is that it was almost just something he did so that he could help people in a different field, because without that experience, he can't quite relate to certain people and what they're dealing with. So, in my understanding of, well, what I took away from what he was saying was, I did this so that I could help everybody, even the people in that, category, people that are, going through these spiritual experiences through using psychedelic medicines. He couldn't really feel confident in helping a person like that because he hadn't himself done it. And I think that is commendable, honestly, because again, like, this is something I heard someone else say, but the saying goes like, to be in the field of psychology and never try these medicines that open you up to different parts of your mind would be like being a botanist and never have planted a tree. You know what I mean? It's like, I
yeah,
study trees, but I don't plant them.
yeah. I only do flowers.
Yeah. So for that reason, Tony went into that and had a mind-blowing time. It's quite crazy. It was actually on Mike Tyson's podcast.
way.
So if you look up Mike Tyson and Tony Robbins on YouTube, you'll find it.
He's having some good
Um,
guests. I haven't ever listened to it
mhm.
because I'm just like, it's Mike Tyson. How like great
He's
of an interviewer could he
changed.
be?
He is changed.
Okay.
And it's crazy because his change came about through this toad medicine as well. He absolutely died and came
Wow.
back.
Okay.
And he was a different person, more or less. It was, he could see the error of his ways for his whole career. And he went on a bunch of podcasts talking about his experience, including Impulsive, which he actually ate 4 grams of mushrooms live on the podcast, which was freaking hilarious.
Wow.
And it was funny because he was like chewing the mushrooms and still talking on the podcast. And they were like, "Can we get him some water? Can we get him some water?" And he was like, "Nah, I'm not done eating them yet."
oh
My
God.
It was so funny. But so, like, one of the Impulsive guests asked, why would one do that? And then Mike Tyson looks at him and is like, "Do you want to be the same person forever? Do you want to change? Do you want to move beyond into the next part of your life?" He's like, "That's what the toad did for me." And then he goes into like all the things that he regrets about the ways he was before. And it was crazy. He's very like open and on a different level of authenticity for sure. And it's very inspiring. And then Tony Robbins did the same thing. And they both talk about it on that podcast. They talk about their respective experiences with this toad medicine. It's crazy.
that's good to hear, because we're doing these things, and to see other super successful people taking these medicines, and getting benefit from it and sharing it with the world, ultimately, that's, we can all be successful in our own mind, healthy mind, perspective. Probably, he was rich, but was he successful? He was like abusing everything, and he was like out of his mind.
Yeah, he was using cocaine a lot, he said, too.
Yeah.
Which we know is an ego booster, not an ego softener. It makes you more full of yourself, more believing that you are the shit and you know best and blah, 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 blah. These other medicines do the opposite. They say, are you the shit? Do you know everything? You probably don't know very much. And then you're like, oh, shit.
Right. Yeah, that's better. They're more humbling, whereas
Right.
these other medicine, like cocaine, but isn't necessarily a medicine. But what I had to take again recently, every time I have the mouth surgery, I get prescribed these narcotics, and every time I take them, I get way more judgmental. I get more like in my head thinking negatively about people around me, like, and it's just I get more irritable, and
Right.
it's annoying. And I'm, as a awakened type of a being who can sense my own mind getting away from, where I want it to be, which is in like this loving and compassionate state where it's more like irritated and ego driven. It's like, okay, I only have 12 of these pills. I just have to get through the next few days. And I have Kratom. Shout out to soapcorner.com, SOAPKORNER.com. Promo code Sheath will save you like 10% on your Kratom. But so that, and I hate to do that, but it's honestly what I do. I've had to do this a few times to transition smoothly off of these narcotics. It's called a plant. What do we call it? A plant
opioid.
Yeah, but it's like a plant-based opioid or something like that, if you will. And anyways, and then I transitioned to that, and then slowly transitioned off of that back to just normalcy, which it's only like a week or two process, and it just keeps me from feeling. Also, when you come off of these pain pills, every little ache and pain is magnified,
right?
So then you're more irritable and whatnot. But point is, I was just kind of like, when you're anyone out there, when you're on these pain pills, it does strengthen your ego for some reason, and it's not ego dissolving, it's the opposite. And I don't like it personally,
Yeah. I don't particularly like that feeling either. I prefer to be more in the unknown, the mystery, the wonder of what this life is. And also, it's not like I'm always this way, but sometimes we have to learn to not take things so seriously. There is a time to take things seriously. Absolutely. But there's also a time when you don't have to get upset over a thing. You don't have to. Sometimes those things work themselves out. And that's a tough thing to deal with, because it's it's accepting the control that we don't have. Like that's what Stoicism is about. Stoicism is about, there's things in your control and there's things out of your control. For the things in your control, you can, work with those things and do them. But the things out of your control, like getting caught in traffic, why get upset? It's not in your control, to sit there and get upset about it. There's no reason to, and that's why I do resonate with the philosophy of Stoicism. I've definitely listened to a bunch of books, and I have an actual physical book called On the Shortness of Life by Seneca. And it's true, life is so short. Why are we going to get upset about little things? And, we're not always going to be able to catch ourselves, but the more you practice, the better you get at it. And breath, which is a big reason why yoga teaches breath work, pranayama, and as well Wim Hof is blowing up right now, is the breath can help you come back to your ability to be conscious and not just go with that what's it called, like that
Instinct or something.
yeah, that easy automatic feeling of getting upset. Like, it's easy to get upset. It's not easy to take 10 breaths, but if you do take the 10 breaths, you're very likely to not be upset anymore, because you can say, okay, I'm here now, let me reset my pattern of thought, instead of like getting caught on that hamster wheel. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, I mean, it happens too often. And like, let's say for instance, you're in a relationship, and something about that other person's past comes up that's irritating to you, and you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do about it? I can go down this weird mental rabbit hole of how it's some kind of an assault on me. Like, but it happens when I'm on these pills, and I've been on the pills for like the last 3 days, or since Tuesday, and it's Saturday, so I'm almost off of them. I'm just like titrating off of them. But anyways, I start noticing these things, but I'm like, okay, I know, like, I'm like, this is my mind fixating on something that I don't have control over, that's in the past. I've already gotten through this. I'm already over this, but it comes up again, and I'm like, ugh. Like, we're already done with this, but dude, don't fucking do it again, because it's so easy to just let your mind go down this negative train of thought that is just going to upset you. Why? I don't know why our own mind would do that to us, when like there's no real rationale. There's no rational,
it's crazy, because I don't
reason.
I don't fully understand this concept yet, but it's something I keep hearing more and more about, which is it's unresolved trauma. So we are pretty doing well, we're pretty healthy, all this and that. It's like, we don't have trauma. Like, we're fine. Like, look at all the stuff we're doing, and we seem to be so happy, and like these things. It's like, we can't possibly have trauma, but apparently everyone does, and things that you don't even remember, and so there's, when we get upset about a thing someone does, it's not that they're doing it, it's that we have a deep-seated trauma we're not even aware of. We don't even remember how we got it or why, that it's hitting, and then we're like, this doesn't feel good, this upsets me, like, I don't feel great right now. And it's weird, because like, we think that it's something that just happened, like, in the now, but it's actually activating something that's stored in our body already from a long time ago. So to get rid of these traumas, there's of course therapy, and yoga does a great job of moving the energy through the body and releasing them, because it's said that these traumas actually live in our body, in our muscles. And a lot of times when we have a chronic pain, those are the areas that the trauma is being stored. But there are medicines that apparently help get those out, and they're on the rise, especially in these little like hippie spots like Denver and Austin. And
what about ecstatic dance?
That's a great one. That's a great one. But the medicine I was going to talk about was Kambo, which I've not done. But it's that frog medicine. It's a different frog medicine. So one's a toad and one's a frog. But apparently Kambo sends all these like peptides to your body, because it thinks it's dying. It thinks it's been poisoned, and it goes to all these different areas and helps to move the energy through them and out of them, and does a lot of stuff for your nervous system. It's anti-inflammatory and all these things. And people that use it seem to be really healthy and really on point. And really the most interesting part for me is that apparently it increases your sight and hearing as well, at least for that day, if not a few days afterwards. Your sight and hearing are like way enhanced. When that's the most interesting part about doing it for me. The least interesting part is you have to throw up for 15 minutes. I'm not really interested in that. That sucks. Like, I don't want to sign up for that. And that's why I haven't done it. But I might try it. Who knows?
Who knows?
Like, if it shows up and it's the right time and I'm in the right place, I'd be interested to see if the sight and hearing thing is real, as well as if my body just feels better and stronger after, because that's what they kind of say. They say it's a warrior medicine, and it was also known to be used by the hunters of tribes. So they would have to go hunt these pigs and like these crazy fast things out in the jungle. And before they would go hunt, they would do this combo medicine so they can see and hear better, to have an edge on the animals. So they call it a warrior medicine or a
Mhm.
hunter medicine. It's crazy
That
stuff.
reminds me of like I think Aubrey Marcus.
They've done it, yeah.
Because like, but there's sometimes like some people like him in this instance do these psychedelics too much, and you do it and then but you were already scheduled to do psychedelics next weekend, but you're good. And now you got to go. I'm good, because usually after you do a good dose or whatever, it's you're good for a while, at least a month or something, right?
Mhm.
Usually. And if you have to go do some when you're already like you're good, I remember just watching this documentary where he was already good and he had to go do more, and it didn't seem like a fun time, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. Ultimately, just for those out there, don't do it all too much.
Yeah, I think there is a respectable amount to do, and